FBI Agent Shepard.
Brian, it's Mark. Look, it's been hard for me to return the page as I am out of the country at the moment.
Listen, we need to know if you've had any further contact with Nakawara.
I told you already that the guy stopped calling.
Hello, welcome to the first episode of Film Reviews with two Z's at the end. No, this is not Movie Reviews, another popular channel on YouTube. This is actually Film Reviews, and the reason there's two Z's is because you might fall asleep to this. If you're listening this far, I'm already happy because this may be boring already and it may sound terrible as somebody talking on a radio podcast channel, what have you. Today, we're going to do our first review, and I'm just going to tell you what I think about it. I'm going to give you a review of the story, the characters, the acting, the lighting, everything, and then give it a score out of 10. Now, you might be wondering at this point, why not do a star review? 5 stars, 3 stars, 1 star. Well, I never really understood the star review. I remember reading in the newspaper when I was growing up the star reviews of movies, and I never fully grasped what they were doing. Was it how many stars were in the film, as in actors' stars, or was it like an overall rating? And what is 3.5 stars out of 5? What is that? Is that a 50%? Is that a 40%? And what is a half star? So we're just going to keep it a little more understandable, I guess you could say. 0 out of 10. 10 being epic, amazing, well done. 0 being this film should never have been made. Ever. So let's get on with this. Let's get it on. The Informant. Here we go. This is a 2009 film, which I just watched recently. And I'm going to open up the webpage here on IMDb. They have a lot of information. Overall, IMDb gave this score a 6 out of 5. I'm not going to give it a 6 out of 5. The Informant is actually based on a true story about a man who works at a company, and he finds out that there is price fixing happening. But the problem is this guy makes up a lot of stories. So, you don't know what's really true or not. He originally makes up a story about a virus in this chemical plant which he oversees, and something happens where he's being blackmailed, but really he's just afraid for his job. I don't want to give a lot away in the story. I will say it is entertaining, and there's a lot of things that develop over time. As a viewer, I was never for sure like, okay, this is what's happening. This is what happened. Just things come out, things reveal. It's kind of like a mystery story where you learn new clues throughout the film. I really liked the way this movie was shot. I thought the filmography was fantastic. The cinematography was great. The script was pretty funny. The acting was fantastic. I thought everybody played their part very well. There's FBI agents who are very funny. Let's see what the names of the actors are. We have Matt Damon playing Mark Whitaker, who is the main character. So if you hate Matt Damon, then stay away from this movie because he's all over it. And something to note here, what I did not like about the film, I thought there was way too much voiceover. He's chatting in his head, he's thinking all the time, he's just like talking to himself, which I kind of get the idea, but it just feels like it's just too much. I was trying to pay attention to what all the voiceovers were, but at a certain point you're just like, okay, he's just a goofy guy who thinks he's like someone he's not, just to make his life more interesting. And I kind of understand a character doing that in a film. But I thought maybe they could have done that a different way. Hold on. I'm getting a phone call. Just a second. We're going to pause this. Hey.
Hello.
Hey, what how are you doing? Are you feeling all right?
Hold on one second. Let me pause the Return of the King.
So my friend just calls. I just paused it for a second. He was watching the Return of the King. I think he's going to call back in about 2 minutes. So I'm just going to leave this in. I think this is interesting and funny. But back to the movie until I get another phone call. I want to say the voiceover was a little overwhelming. I thought they could have cut that down a bit. Kind of distracting. But I thought Matt Damon overall played the character very well. He's really funny in his awkwardness and just I don't know if the real person was like him. The movie definitely took this guy's true story and made it look a little more ridiculous than maybe it was. But I think it wasn't over. It wasn't trying to be too funny. It wasn't trying to be like a Will Ferrell movie or something like that, or a Jim Carrey. It was kind of was what it was. And the FBI even seemed like they were as confused as the audience at some points, which was really fascinating. But overall, I think it is a very well made movie. Steven Soderbergh was the director who did Ocean's 11, Aaron Brockovich. So it had a mixture of kind of his past films. Actually, you know what? Hold on just a second. So I just realized my cell phone is at 2%, so my friend might call me back and it might die, so I'm charging that now. Anyways, that's not part of this review, but I'm going to keep it in anyways because I just don't want people to fall asleep. The music was very kind of goofy in a way, and hold on, I just got a message here. I think it was he's trying to do face. I shouldn't talk too much about this because I'm sure he's going to listen to this podcast and be like, hey, why are you talking about me? I'm surprised he watched Lord of the Rings though. Oh well, maybe we'll call back. What was I going to say? Yeah, the music was it's kind of goofy. I thought it was a little too salsa sounding, a little too like happy sounding. I think it could have been a little more subtle. That was kind of a little off. But the progression of the story I really liked. I thought the script was well. The filming, I mean, the camera work was, I thought, the best part of the film. Just the way it was lit. Peter Andrews did a fantastic job. By the way, oh, here we go. Here we go. I got a phone call. Hold on. So let's just wrap this episode up. I'm getting interrupted way too many times, and I'm sure some people will probably not enjoy listening to the interruptions. So let's just get back to this podcast. Let's get back to this episode, this SoundCloud, whatever this is. I don't know what it is. This audio piece. Let's get back to it. The Informant, 2009, starring Matt Damon. I give this film an 8 out of 10. I thought it was based on a true story, which is very fascinating. Inside trading, corruption, but the character that Matt Damon played was a guy who really was kind of goofy and funny, very interesting. He was looking out for himself. He was looking out for his company as well. He knew he was in trouble, so he played with the FBI. He went with them, but he also had this kind of bipolar personality disorder that was, kind of ruining his life at the same time. It's crazy to see how the FBI convicts him, even though he helped them. I don't want to give everything away, but you should check this movie out. It takes place in the 90s. It's a good lesson on how, what would happen if this happened. It's like a what would happen if. There's a lot of law and order involved. A lot of court stuff. Well, not a lot of court stuff, but a lot of like espionage, secret wiretappings, things like that. So definitely take a chance on this film. Take some time to watch it. Thank you for listening to this podcast. It probably went on too long for The Informant. I will see you next time. We're going to review Lego Movie 2 next.